Hi everybody! So I'm going to answer another question here, and it's from S-Bill. So hi S-Bill, if you're watching. You asked, so S-Bill asked, "Hi Miss Staci, what are your thoughts on raw kelp noodles?" Okay, now this is the first time I have ever heard of raw kelp noodles, or kelp noodles to begin with. So I had to look it up, and right away I kind of knew that I kind of knew my answer to this question, but I looked it up anyways, and I looked at several sites too, and they kind of all said generally the same thing, but kind of where I base most of my information, my knowledge off of this, is from the website. It's bestraworganic.com. So I will put a link in the description down below so you guys can go visit that web page and see where I got my information and stuff there. But so what they said was, as far as I know, they did an overview of what is said to be raw kelp noodles and raw yam noodles, I guess. And they said it's not a raw food. It's not a raw food, and I agree, because it doesn't have the enzymes and all the perfect components of a fruit and vegetable of the plant fully intact. The kelp noodle has been highly processed. They said it's a highly processed food, and so it is heat treated at a high heat, has been high heat treated, and it's been highly processed, so it has little, if any, actual nutritional value, but is considered convenient filler food. So I completely 100% agree. One other thing they said is it's flavorless. So that's another clue, is when we eat our food, it should, have lots of flavor, because a lot of you guys know we have a sweet tooth for a reason, and we have taste buds to taste flavors. And when we eat something that's flavorless, we go, we don't want to eat it. So that, I was thinking, okay, that was kind of interesting point too. But they said kelp noodles and yam noodles are made from the extracted starch. Well, the first one is from yam noodles, made from the extracted starch and components of yams, other veggies. Or for kelp noodles are made from a bleached form of sodium alginate, which is a dry, isolated, processed powder commonly used as a thickener for food, clothing dyes, and paints. So right away, no. This, I don't agree with kelp noodles. I really don't. And that's one thing. I guess one other thing they said is a lot of people in the health movement call it more of a treat food, or a nice filler food. And that, it all depends, you guys. It all depends on how far you want to take your health and what raw is to you. To me, raw is like, seriously, the whole ripe, raw, fresh fruit and vegetable. It's not really processed. And if you're going to process your fruits and vegetables, you should do it yourself in your blender or in your juicer, and that's as far as you should go, in my opinion, because that is raw. That's raw. It hasn't been processed or heated in any way. And that's one thing is, for people to call it a treat food, eating this way is not, you're not depriving yourself in any way. Every time you eat fruits and vegetables, you're treating yourself at every meal. So every meal feels like a treat because it's sweet, it's flavorful, it's satisfying, it's filling, it's delicious. And so you should never feel like you should have to treat yourself, because you're treating yourself at every meal on this lifestyle. It's wonderful. But one other thing is, you have to be careful. One thing that's come to my attention over the years of eating low-fat raw vegan, I've noticed how people who are in the raw movement, they kind of gravitate to some packaged foods. And so you got to be careful when you're grocery shopping, that just because you're in a health food store doesn't mean everything in that health food store is healthy, because a lot of packaged products that say that they are raw or claim to be raw, they really are not raw. They've highly processed it in some way, and they have added something to preserve it in that package. Unless you have done your research on that product, on that name brand product of whatever you're deciding to purchase that claims to be raw, because there are some brand names out there, I believe, that are claim to be raw and they still are raw. Like I know there's certain date bars and stuff that are made and packaged, and I believe those are raw because it's just dates and nuts or dates and seeds, and there's a lot of that stuff out there, and I believe that's raw. But when it comes to noodles and chips and cookies and stuff like that, that is a big no-no. That's a big no-no in my opinion, guys. Just my opinion, okay? Because I really truly don't believe that's raw. I truly don't believe that's healthy, even though some people say it does no harm and you can consume it and it can be part of a healthy diet. You most certainly can do that if that's what floats your little boats. It's all depends on how far you want to take your health, okay? Because one thing I like to view this also is when you're grocery shopping, you want to stay on the outside of the grocery store, because on the outsides of the grocery store, that is where the fresh produce is at. You don't want to go down the aisles. You don't want to go down all the aisles, because that's where all the packaged foods are. And so you want to stay in the fresh produce section only. But if there are some other raw products you believe are healthy and you want to consume, you most certainly can gravitate to those aisles and shop there if you want. It's all up to you. Again, it's whatever floats your little boats there, guys. Again, you guys, I'm not the nutritionist, health expert, dietitian in any way. I don't claim to be and I don't want to be. Okay, these are just my thoughts and opinions. And so that's where I got my information, was from bestraworganic.com. And another way of thinking about it is, how would you eat in nature? I mean, if you were out there in that beautiful tropical jungle, what would you really be eating? You would be eating the whole ripe, raw, fresh fruit and vegetables straight from the tree. I wouldn't see no kelp noodles hanging from a tree. I mean, I know there's sea vegetables where I guess in a sense you could go swimming in the ocean and somehow grab some sea vegetables or this seaweed and stuff like that. I know for me, I'm not a fan of the seaweed plants or anything like that. I hate that sea flavor. I hate that. And I know for me, if I was in the tropical jungle, I would not be swimming in the ocean. Nope, nope, nope. I would just have my feet on the beach in the water, and that's as far as I go. But I know one thing is, I know we're attracted to sweetness, to the sugar, and that's the fruit. And that's why kind of turning back here, it's best to stay away from packaged products. Though like I said, there are some like raw hulled hemp seeds and chia seeds. So I know those are packaged, but those are raw. I believe those are raw. Like I said, there's some things that are that are packaged that are raw. But when you start diving into these noodles and cookies and chips and crackers and all that stuff, that dives into a whole nother, I think you're a whole nother level of, I think you're doing yourself more of a disservice by eating that. And sometimes when people incorporate that, they go, oh, I'm just having it once in a while. Well, it eventually turns into something where later down the road, it turns into something where it's an everyday habit. And before you know it, that's all they're eating almost every day. And then their bad habits are back in place. So that's why I would stay away from it, and I don't consider it raw or anything. Okay, guys? And for me, it kind of goes the same with nori wraps too. I'm not a fan of nori wraps. I've never tried them before, and I don't want to. But I know that is kind of a whole nother situation. I'm not quite sure how that's made and everything, but you know, it's all up to you guys. It's all up to you guys. Like I said again, whatever floats your little boats, however far you guys want to take your health, it's up to you. If you're asking Miss Stace, guys, I would stick with the whole ripe raw fresh fruits and vegetables, and then some packaged raw foods that are truly raw. Do your research if you're going to consume what they say is raw and it's packaged. Do your research before you consume it. I think that would be best. Okay, guys, so remember to love being raw, you guys. Put a big ol' smile on your face today. I hope I did that for you guys, and I'll see you guys next video, okay? Bye, guys.